Rich versus poor. The 1920s was a decade of contrast, particularly, on the one hand, tremendous wealth of some groups and extreme poverty on the others. In early 1929, about 1/3 of all of the wealth in the country was shared by only 5% of the population. The national income of the US was bigger than Britain, Germany, Japan, France, and 18 smaller countries all put together. America dominated economically. Black Americans made up 10% of the population, and most lived in squalor and misery and were genuinely seen as inferior. Many still lived in the South, in the southern states such as Mississippi and South Carolina. Living conditions where there used to be ex-slave cotton growing areas were appalling. Many suffered at the hands of the Klan, and life wasn't very good. Immigrants as well who came in, who were non-white, were seen as a threat to American culture and to living standards. Original Native Americans, Indians if you like, were still around, but only were forced onto reservations, and their culture started to decline as well. In other words, white America was doing very, very well, but America as a whole was not necessarily. In saying that though, working class white people who worked in some of the industrial areas, especially textiles, had really low wages. So even white people didn't do brilliantly sometimes. And again, at the end of our decade in 1929, 71% of families had income of less than $2,500 a year. Now that was seen as the absolute minimum for any decent standard of living. And let's not think either that America was really forward-thinking. Up to 2 million 14 to 15-year-old children worked for 11 hours a day in textile mills and in farming. And farming themselves was a really poor industry to be in because with tariffs, they couldn't now sell their food overseas. So America was booming in the 1920s, but there was a definite split between the ones who were getting very, very wealthy and the ones who were not.